다음으로 O2팀의 밀폐 구역에서 발생하는 인명 피해를 줄이기 위한 제안이라는 제목으로 발표가 있겠습니다. 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for us to have this great opportunity to have presentation. Our team, O2, has prepared a presentation about successful rescue by using radio frequency identification, so-called RFID, in enclosed spaces. The motivation of this topic was first drawn from a very personal experience of mine. But through times of discussion, now all of us are eager to share this important issue with you. As you can see in these pictures, since 1974 SOLAS Convention, consideration of atmosphere in enclosed spaces has been discussed until today. And in recent times, the revision had been made through several times of discussion. Before we start, let's look at the contents of our presentation. First, we will have a small introduction on the background of this presentation. And then, the official enclosed space entry and rescue operation procedures will be explained with the problems came from the original communication route. And next, we will try to identify several factors what we should consider for the solutions. And finally, our proposals will be made with challenges, conclusions, and actions to be taken in the future. Now, in this chapter, my colleague will introduce the background of this presentation. Please, my colleague.
Thank you. In the first chapter, you'll see what is enclosed space, why do we enter the enclosed spaces, and maritime accident statistics in enclosed spaces. In a vessel, there are different types of enclosed spaces, such as cargo hold, the auto room, and the pump room. And the definition of enclosed spaces mentioned in IMO Resolution A.1050 is that a space that has following three characteristics. First, limited openings for entry and exit. Second, restricted ventilation. And third, not designed for continuous worker occupancy. However, these three characteristics seems quite dangerous to be a workplace. While keeping enclosed spaces in good condition is the main factor of safe voyage, so we need to enter the enclosed spaces and do cleaning, painting, survey, maintenance, and inspection in regular times. But due to the dangerous environment, as mentioned in the earlier, from 1998 to 2009, 101 times of big accidents occurred in enclosed spaces. 30% of it were happened in tanker, and 38% of it in cargo hold. And the most important thing, the causes of casualties. This graph clearly shows that oxygen depletion is the outstanding cause of casualties by 45%. So when an accident occurs in enclosed spaces, first to be considered is the golden time of oxygen depletion, and it is about 3 or 4 minutes. If we don't rescue the person in this time, the person will die of brain death or heart attack. %45% of casualties were dead by oxygen depletion, and the method to prevent it is mentioned in official enclosed space entry and rescue procedures. But why the accidents never stop? This issue is a threat to all our seafarers around the world. Hoping you felt its significance, now my colleague will give general ideas about official enclosed space entry and rescue procedures and the problem. Please, colleague.
Thank you. Chapter 2, Official Enclosed Space Entry and Rescue Operation Procedures and Identification Problems came from the original communication notes. First, entry procedure. This chart represents the standard procedures for entering the enclosed spaces. First of all, before we enter into the space, the whole space inside must be purged and ventilated, and makes personnel able to work continuously for limited times. And second, risk assessment. We should assess after purging and ventilation, risk assessment must be conducted by pre-entry test. During pre-entry test, we can check the atmosphere of the enclosed spaces by using portable gas detector. In this stage, we can check the oxygen deficiency or enrichment and presence of toxic or flammable gases or vapors. The third, approved personal protective equipment must be worn at all times. For example, safety helmet, safety shoes, gloves, safety harness, or boiler suits must be worn or readily available all times. And finally, they can enter into the space. When the authorized person enter into the space, they should be provided with this portable multi-gas detector. This small device is one of the mandatory carries for entering the enclosed spaces. It can check oxygen rates and the presence of polluted gases inside the tank and notice to workers the current conditions. And if the oxygen rate gauge less than 20.9% or not included in safety levels, the detector sounds the alarm and recognizes workers to escape. Next, let me introduce the rescue operation procedures in enclosed spaces. This chart represents standard rescue operation procedures in enclosed spaces. First, when the accident occurred in the space, the current situation must be reported to an officer on the bridge. And the second, the rescue equipment must be installed promptly under the supervision of designated officer. And the third, authorized rescue team can enter into the space after they completely wear personal protective equipment together with breathing apparatus. And finally, they can enter and rescue the casualty. This picture represents the original communication or reporting routes during the enclosed space operation. For example, when the detector sounds the alarm or gives other information, the on-site workers call the attendant at the entrance, and the attendant inform the current situation or the alarm to an officer on the bridge. But in this stage, we will try to identify the problems came from this original means of communication or reporting routes. The original means of communication or reporting route has features of one-way transmission of information. It can delay or postpone a rescue process or cause a lateness and misunderstanding of information between all parties. For the prevention of these problems, we should devise a solution appropriate for the ship's environment. So in this section, chapter 3, we will try to identify several factors to what we should consider for the solution. These are the factors what we should consider in solution. First, specificity of vessel, such as stalemate structures with limited internet connection or various sizes of enclosed spaces. And the second, dangerous working environment caused by the oxygen depletion or polluted gases. And the third, as my colleague mentioned on the background of our presentation, the golden time of oxygen depletion must be seriously considered. And the next, the safety of workers. Above all the other factors, safety of workers must be regarded as the biggest priority. And contemplate all the other factors, the solution must be effective and practical method. Proceeded in effective and practical method. So in this chapter, my colleague will introduce about our proposals. Please, my colleague.
Thank you. Are you having a good time with our team? Now I will introduce our proposal, characteristics, and expectation. As you know, one-way transmission of information causes some problems. To solve the problems, we suggest to combine RFID sensor with portable multi-gas detectors. Then, what is RFID and why did we choose it and how to use it? RFID is a contraction of radio frequency identification. It contains information and sends it to connected devices. There are many devices that work similar to RFID, but we suggest these because of these reasons. First, it works automatically. When it is set to its initial settings, it doesn't need any extra adjustments further. So it is simple and easy to use for our seafarers. Second, it doesn't use internet connection for sending information. Other technologies like LPWAN, low power wide area network, or mesh network work same as RFID, but they are based on the internet connection. As you may know, having internet is not common in the vessels, so needless of it is a big advantage of RFID. Third, it is compatible with the specificity of the vessel. Vessel has various sizes of enclosed space, and RFID can cover all of that. So it is suitable to be used in vessels for these reasons, and it is already being used in the warehouses. If RFID is equipped with gas detector, it will automatically send information to related people such as attendants and officers. It means regardless of reporting, workers, attendants, and officers can get the gas levels simultaneously. From that, they can warn workers or they can rescue workers when oxygen rate decreases. Finally, the rescue time will be shortened and the casualties caused by oxygen depletion will be reduced. It is urgent to introduce RFID to save our seafarers, but there are some challenges. Challenges are related to the electromagnetic waves from RFID. There are two challenges. First, steel makes hazards. Since the vessel is steel structure, it causes failure of transmission by interrupting electromagnetic waves. This failure can lead to life hazards of our workers. Second, risk of explosions. In enclosed spaces, even very small combination between electromagnetic waves and the gases can cause explosions. Precisely when the uncontrolled waves hit the gas molecules, the molecules get heat energy and make explosions. Fortunately, there are solutions. First is microwave observers. It is a glue-type substance that can be used by spreading on the back of RFID. It observes the overflowed electrons and changes them to other forms of energy. So it prevents confusion of electrons and maintains clear waves in transmission of information. This observer has been developed by a Japanese company called AICA in 2006, and it is commonly used since now. Using this, the failure of transmission and gas explosions will be prevented. The second is stable RFID in polluted gas environment. Of course, we can prevent gas explosions by observer, but we believe these can also help. Current RFID is made of the metal, but the stable RFID that we called is made of the plastic polymer, and it can reduce the possibility of explosions by not reacting to the gas molecules. It is successfully developed by Hongik University Corporation in August of this year, but not customized yet. In conclusion, O2 proposed revision of IMO Resolution A.105027. To be specific, we propose to revise the wording of 8.2 from multi-gas detector to multi-gas detectors combined with RFID. We know that this revision is not completed version. In fact, SOLAS Convention Chapter 3 Regulation 19 should be revised, but we chose IMO Resolution A.1050 because it clearly shows the RFID. We chose IMO Resolution to give an example of guidelines of the revision. For our proposal, MSC is advised to take actions to save our seafarers. Giving lives of our seafarers is very important issue according to motto of IMO. Ladies and gentlemen, please understand this issue seriously. This is the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.
심사위원님들 참가팀의 질문 시간 갖겠습니다.
Another interesting technology. Go to the Next, I have a question. What is the relation between electromagnetic waves, radio frequency, and microwave? Then, RFID uses the wide range than microwave, right? I don't think microwave absorber can absorb radio frequency.
Thank you for your good question. My colleague will answer for the question.
In the range of electromagnetic waves, there are radio frequency, and in the range of radio frequency, there are microwaves. And you mentioned the microwave observers. Microwave observers can observe frequency from 300 megahertz to 300 gigahertz. And the RFID we mentioned is on the concept of environmental sensor RFID that uses 433 megahertz, so the microwave observers can adjust it.
Thank you for your answer. More question.
Yes.
It seems that what your team proposed will have to reduce the rate of casualties in enclosed space.
Yes.
And what's the exact correlation of casualties and this system? And how much growth time can the workers earn more with this improved communication system? I'd like your explanation. Thank you.
Can we have a few seconds for discussion?
For sure.
I will answer for your question. According to my experience and my colleagues' experience, rescue casualties from enclosed spaces take over 15 minutes because, as you saw in presentation, one-way transmission of information causes some times. When the workers say, I feel dizzy, or the oxygen rate is under 20.9%, and the attendant cold breathe, and I think we should operate rescue system. And in that time, workers are still in dangerous environment of enclosed spaces. So because of that delayed rescue operation, as we mentioned, the oxygen depletion of 3 for 4 minutes. When it takes over 3 for 4 minutes, it's very dangerous for workers to survive. Yeah. So I think if the gas detector equip RFID, they can share the information about environment in enclosed spaces, and they can start rescue operation as soon as possible. The oxygen rate gets decreased. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Question.
Question from Thousand Sunny. Thank you first for such a good touch on the subject. I was just wondering, I cannot see any consideration on cost effectiveness or feasibility issues. I agree with the fact that we have to rescue the seafarers, but in order to make things you mentioned possible, we need too many things, like RFID, microwave observers, polymer, and so on. Wouldn't it be more likely if we just look at the manual communication between people and try to find ways to improve it? That was my question.
My colleague will answer for your question.
I don't want to know the exact cost in numbers, but I want to see your consideration of cost effectiveness or its possibility, or I say feasibility, to make your proposals happen in real life.
Okay, I mean RFID system. The RFID system is composed with the RFID sensor, server, and the host computer. Okay, so the host computer is installed on the bridge or control room. The server, and the server or reader, a device like a reader, attendant at the entrance or officer on the bridge, most of them should be equipped. So when every single time, if the attendants or the officer press the button of the reader device, they can check the current condition inside the enclosed spaces. Not only the on-site workers, also the attendant and officer, all of the parties participate in enclosed space operation can know the current situation.
And to his answer, that you mentioned there, we need many devices or like RFID observer, but we don't think it's many devices because RFID is already being commonly used since now, so it's very cheap and it's very easy to get. And the observer is also has popularity because it has been used since 2006, and it is we searched it, and the observer is has a proper reasonable price. Yes. So we think it's not too much or it's not many for our seafarers to save our seafarers' lives.
Mr. Chair, can I have just one more? Okay, I didn't know about that. That RFID is quite common and cheap.
Yes, it's very common.
But then why did you mention that challenges about electromagnetic waves because it makes hazards or failure in transmission? What about how do you think is there going to be a lot of cost on fixing or solving the problems about the electromagnetic waves?
Before we answer RFID, you are using RFID even you don't know. RFID is in your cell phone, and RFID is in your bus card, and RFID is everywhere in our lives. And it doesn't have serious harmful effect. The electromagnetic waves, of course, it doesn't have good. It doesn't only have good effection, but it's not strong. It's already. We all have RFID, and it doesn't give serious harmful effect on your body or on your brain, anything. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the question.
Yeah, thank you.
Do we have any questions for the judges?
Well, I would restrict this time to questions from the student. Time is okay. No question from Judge? Christine? No? I think I should ask
예. Thank you, judges. 감사합니다.
Thank you very much.
5초